Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. So today we're diving into this incredibly fascinating concept from Salima over at whisperstotheworld.com. We are unpacking a framework for intentional living. So often we just find ourselves, managing life, right? We're constantly putting out fires, endlessly checking off to-do lists, and honestly just trying to survive the month. But what if we could shift from merely managing our lives to gracefully living them? What if we actually built an identity with real deliberate intention? That is exactly what we're going to dig into today, using some super practical, structured pillars that you can literally apply right away. Okay, let's just jump right in.
Take a look at this beautiful French proverb, en mai, fais ce que te plaît, which basically translates to, in May, do as you please. Salima uses this to set the stage for this whole philosophy. Just think about the energy we all have in January, right? It's usually this chaotic ambition, aggressive resolutions, and tons of pressure. But as we transition into warmer months like May, that chaos kind of softens. It softens into something way more graceful. It becomes a season of arrival, really, a time where life finally feels like it can be lived intentionally instead of just ruthlessly managed. It's an open invitation to just step into an entirely new vibe.
So, to get to that level of graceful, intentional living, we definitely need some structure. Let's start with Pillar 1, financial presence.
For Salima, the very first day of the month is, it's sacred. She kicks things off with this foundational ritual she calls her big money date. And it's actually a really simple, yet totally powerful process. First off, she reviews her net worth. Then, she literally combs through every single expense, questioning what is truly serving her, and being totally honest about what isn't. And finally, she deliberately sets her intention for how the rest of the month is going to unfold. You see, it's not just about tracking pennies. It's this mindful, proactive act of actually confronting your goals head-on.
Let me give you a quick example of the real-world impact of this big money date. Take this amount, $130. During one of her monthly reviews, Salima realized she was spending $130 on an Audible subscription she just wasn't using. I mean, we've all been guilty of funding digital ghosts like that, right? So obviously, she canceled it. But here is the absolute game changer. She didn't just stop there. She immediately reinvested that $130. She gave that money a new job right away because her brain needed to know it was a done deal. It just goes to show that these small, super mindful financial decisions, they carry some serious weight.
And that deliberate, hands-on approach to personal finances feeds perfectly into our next concept, Pillar 2, sovereignty.
You see, financial presence is really the gateway to feeling completely in control. In fact, Salima actually chose sovereign as her word of the year. Now, I know it sounds grand, maybe even a little royal, but its application is so incredibly grounded. She defines sovereignty as presence, not perfection. And honestly, isn't that just a breath of fresh air? Feeling sovereign doesn't mean your bank accounts are utterly flawless. It means you are actively present. It means showing up for yourself and for your goals with your eyes completely wide open.
So, what does that presence actually look like in the real world? Well, sovereignty is about actively hunting for opportunities to grow. For Salima, that meant officially registering her investment group. And we're talking about the tangible, heavy lifting steps here. Sitting down with a notary, drafting operational and restrictive covenants, locking down use of proceeds clauses, and hammering out management, board rights, and transfer restrictions. By tackling all of this super intimidating paperwork head-on, she's not chasing perfection. She is demonstrating true sovereignty by taking active, unapologetic command of her business.
Which brings us seamlessly to Pillar 3, the power of words.
This third pillar draws heavy inspiration from the journaling themes inside Salima's membership community, the Reflective Circle. And it really all centers around this one foundational quote from Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. It sounds very simple, but it is very, very powerful. Salima is super open about the fact that she wasn't always mindful of how she expressed herself. But here's the thing. When we don't choose our words with real purpose, it creates a ripple effect. It impacts our business, our family dynamics, and literally the entire lens through which we view the world around us.
Let's dig a little deeper into that, because this is absolutely crucial. The big takeaway here is how our words create what Salima calls internal verdicts. You know when recurring patterns keep popping up in your life and you react the exact same way every single time? That's usually because you've already formed a verdict in your head. We judge the situation before it even plays out. And these internal verdicts, they act exactly like locked doors. They shut us down before we can even see what's sitting right in front of us, whether that's a new lesson, a fresh opportunity, or just a vital invitation to grow.
But the antidote to those locked doors is so simple, yet so profound. Speak good things to life. Open the doors of heaven.
I really want you to let that sink in for a second. We have to start watching our words, guys. They aren't just small, throwaway things. The language you use is literally the power you possess to create your own reality. By speaking with care and intention, you can actually shift your entire trajectory, opening up brand new pathways that your old internal verdicts had completely blocked off.
All right, so we've covered the core philosophy. Now let's pivot to the practical side of this explainer. The application. Tools for intentional living.
Because let's face it, these concepts aren't just meant to be nice, abstract ideas floating around in your head. You need concrete tools to make them happen. Salima actually built these exact tools, and they're available right in our Etsy shop, Tati Store. Let's break down what might fit your needs. First up is the Word of the Year workbook. It's this beautifully crafted PDF that is entirely focused on life design. It's honestly perfect for anyone who wants to build a true identity, not just a packed daily schedule. Then we have the Intentional Money Journal. This is an Excel spreadsheet totally designed for absolute financial mindfulness. There's no intimidating finance jargon here, just a clear, simple space to log your expenses. If the whole idea of that big money date sparks something in you, this tracker is absolutely your perfect starting point.
As we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with one single incredibly powerful question. It really sits at the very core of this whole reflection process. How have I lived my word of the year? Just look at that question for a moment. Whether your word is sovereign or something completely different, are you really living it with intention? Are you managing your finances with actual presence, taking command of your life, and being truly impeccable with your words? May, or honestly whatever month you happen to be in right now, is your time to choose intentionally. So here's my challenge to you. When you wake up tomorrow morning, what is the very first mindful choice you're going to make to ensure you aren't just managing your life, but truly intentionally living it?